it's interesting how art evolves, you know? I mean, I did not set out to make art that was hanging from strings. That was the farthest thing from my mind, really. But when I was working on the butterfly effects project, and the way that that unfolded, we knew for that project I was working with a wonderful collaborator at the time, Jennifer Johnson, and we knew we wanted to create something that was going to be displayed and that was going to be about plastics, and it just slowly evolved over time. You know, we got this material to use. We used those upcycled Capri Sun pouches. We chose butterflies because it's such a great representation of how our individual choices can have power in the world if you look at the butterfly effect. And so when we started looking at where we might install this, I'd originally thought we'd do a wall-mounted piece. And so I was thinking, you know, we'd take all the people involved, we'd planned on working with a few hundred people, we'd make butterflies and we'd create like a static wall installation out of these butterflies. But then we had the opportunity to hang the piece at the Washington Center for the Performing Arts, and so we had this opportunity to make a hanging piece, and I didn't know how to do that. But as we were working with students, we worked with some students at Avanti High School to develop the idea of what this project was all about and what the art installation was going to look like. And my collaborator at one point was like, well, what if, you know, I think maybe I said, I was like, well, what if we, you know, hung them to make like the earth? Simple. We can make the earth. Like, I could figure out how to do that and hang it. And then Jen was like, could we make a person? And I just thought, well, that's crazy. Like, I don't know about that, but oh, let's explore it. Okay, sure, we can make a person. And then a student that we were working with was like, well, what if that person was inside of a chrysalis? And then another one was like, well, what if there were butterflies flying out of her heart, you know? And we were just like, okay, I don't even know how to do this, but we have to do that because it is such a beautiful idea. And so I just started brainstorming, like, how do we do it? It was really fun. Like, so when we finally got the design all set down, we had to do the installation in like a night and a day at the Washington Center. And so a bunch of people, volunteers, and some good friends of mine came out to help me string all these lines up. And I think my partner had come up with this idea to tie loops on the bottom of them so that, because we needed to have some weight to stabilize them, and that would make it a lot easier to string these beads that we'd been stringing together. And so I had not all my friends, but many of my friends there helping me string these like hundreds of lines while this piece is hanging kind of low so we could reach it. And they just kept getting tangled and tangled and more tangled. And at one point, like, I could remember my friend Rebecca sitting there, and it was late at night, and she's like trying to untangle this ball of monofilament, and she just looks at me and she's like, Carrie, I don't think we're gonna be able to do it, you know? Like, she almost had tears in her eyes because she's like it wasn't gonna work. And so I was just like, okay, well, it's okay, like, we'll figure something out. And I don't remember if it was later that night or after everybody left or the next morning. I just cut all the bottoms off and we just tied every piece on, and it worked perfectly. It was a lot of work, but you know, it just, once we had the vision of what we wanted to create, the next step was just, well, there must be a way to do it. So figuring out what that next step is part of what the artist does.